My favorite way to build referral relationships, just because it fits my personality, is quality time. I just love hanging out with people, being with someone, having a great conversation with that person. So one of the best things that I can do to grow my practice is go to lunch with other lawyers. So I've just looked at, the referrals that I've received in the last year, and about 90% of those referrals come from other attorneys. So I love going to lunch with all kinds of people, but if I spend time with other attorneys, that's what's most likely to grow my referral relationships. So I'm not exclusive to that. If there's somebody super interesting who wants to have lunch who's not in my space, I'm happy to do that. And sometimes that does lead to referral relationships. But again, 90% or so come from other attorneys, and so that's where I focus my time and my energy. So for a long time, I used to feel guilty if there was somebody who I thought could give me lots of referrals that I didn't want to go to lunch with, and so I didn't do it. And then I would feel guilty, like, why didn't I do that? I should have, if I was hustling more, I would be more successful. And again, going back to that principle, strategy loses to consistency every time. So in my view, if you're into going to lunch with people, go to lunch with people you enjoy. Go to lunch with people who make you inspired to work the rest of that day. You don't necessarily have to just suck it up and go to lunch with that person who has referrals who drives you crazy. In the long run, it's just not going to work, and you're not going to be consistent at it. There's other ways to spend quality time with people though as well. You could go to continuing education events. I despise continuing education events. I almost never learn almost anything from the presentation, but it's a bunch of other lawyers who are like forced to be in the same space a lot of times. With remote, it's a little bit more difficult, but if there's in-person continuing education, I want to be there. And a lot of times I'll make it 10 or 15 minutes through the presentation, and then I'll be in the hall kind of halfway listening to what they're saying in the session, and I'll be responding to an email or something, and then another attorney will get bored and come out and sit next to me in the lobby, and we'll strike up a conversation, and that's led to amazing relationships for me. Quality time can be spent in lots of different areas. You could be a breakfast person, a coffee person, a lunch person. You could be a nighttime events person. You could be somebody who goes to continuing education events or gets super involved in the bar. But whatever you're doing, you're just trying to make sure that it's a great experience for the other person. If you're focused on them and you're generous and kind and show up and listen, it's going to lead to great relationships. So when I go to lunch with, let's say, a divorce lawyer, I love meeting new divorce lawyers. They tend to have lots of referrals for me. When I go to lunch with a divorce lawyer, I don't sit down and say, hey, I want you to send referrals to me. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the person who shows up and they're excited to see me, or they see my number on their phone when I'm calling their cell phone, and they're like excited to talk to me. So I'm not there to make an ask. I'm there really just to make a relationship, to learn more about them. And one of my favorite questions to ask is, what's something that's a big challenge for you right now? What's something that you're working on? And then if I know someone who could help them with that challenge, or I know of a book on that topic, or just something that I can do to ease that load a little bit, I want to be of service to them in that quality time. So I love lunches, so that's where I start. There's other things that I do as well that I've enjoyed, but that's probably where I spend most of my time and energy. And I try not to feel guilty for not utilizing some of the other types of methods, because I know that I'm going to be excited to go to lunch with cool people. So if you love lunch with cool people, and I don't really know why anyone wouldn't, then think about setting a goal to maybe go to 2 lunches a week with another attorney, or somebody who a type of attorney that's referred you a lot of business in the past, and that is definitely going to yield fruit quicker than you'd probably expect. An experience that I had early on when I was actually a little kid about quality time was my dad went from being a real estate property manager to being a teacher. And my mom was super supportive of it. We moved and into a different house, and it kind of changed a lot of things for our life, but we were happy to support my dad in it. But my mom, after a couple of years of this, said, I liked how much money we were earning before. And so she she kind of made a requirement for my dad. She asked him to do some deals, and he said, I can't, I'm busy, I've got a full-time job, I don't know what to tell you. And so she set up a really ingenious quality time plan for him. She, without asking him, subscribed to the Wall Street Journal and had it sent to his office. And then her rule was, you can't come home until you've read the Wall Street Journal, found a story that somebody you know would be interested in, and call them. The rule was, you're not calling them to ask for something, you're not calling them selling something, just call them, say, hey, I was thinking about you, did you see this story? What are your thoughts about it? How's it going to impact you? And have like a 10-minute conversation. Not be on the phone for a long time, not be like a huge interruption to their day, but just be that, just a little unexpected connection. So he was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And he'd been doing it for a few weeks. and he called one of his former connections. And this person said, oh, you know, my dad's name is Ross. Ross, I haven't heard from you, so good to hear from you. I'm glad you called today. I just did this deal where I sold some property and I'm gonna buy some other property with the same money to avoid a tax penalty, and that second deal fell through. So I have like just a few weeks to make a new deal or else I'm gonna owe all this money in taxes. Would you help me find that right deal? So my dad, you know, did what he does. He found a deal for the guy and made a nice fee from that experience. And so I kind of firsthand saw my dad doing just these little consistent sort of seeds that he would plant, and not having sort of ulterior motives in the sense of wanting something specific but not saying it, but just staying in touch with people that he cared about, and that yielded results over and over again. So I encourage you, if you're a quality time person, look for ways that you enjoy to spend quality time with people who have the potential to send you referrals.